The wind howls over the empty Heartland Ranch. The sky turns heavy, as if it knows something big is about to happen. Amy stands still by the fence, her eyes locked on the barn door that creaks open in the distance. Gracie steps out, her face pale, her hands shaking. This isn't just another day at Heartland. This is the moment when the truth finally comes out. The sun barely peeks over the rolling hills, painting the land in a soft golden light that does little to warm the chill in the air. Everything feels different now. The horses are restless, their movements uncertain, as if they can sense the tension that lingers in every corner of the ranch. Amy walks slowly through the field, her boots sinking into the damp soil, her mind replaying every moment of the past few weeks. The lies, the half-truths, the way Gracie avoided her eyes, it all makes sense now. Amy isn't angry anymore. She's exhausted. The kind of tired that settles deep inside, where even words can't reach. She had trusted Gracie, let her into the quiet spaces of her life, shared memories of Ty, and moments she never thought she could speak out loud again. And in return, Gracie had hidden something that tore at the very heart of what Heartland stands for. The wind catches Amy's hair, tossing it across her face, but she doesn't move. In the distance, she can see Jack watching from the porch, his face lined with worrying. He doesn't need to say anything. He knows where Amy is heading. Lou had tried to stop her earlier that morning, her voice soft but firm, telling Amy to let it go. But Amy can't. Letting go feels too much like giving up. Inside the barn, everything is quiet. The smell of hay and horses fills the air, a reminder of home, of peace, yet nothing about this moment feels peaceful. Amy's footsteps echo softly as she walks past Spartan's stall. The horse lifts his head, eyes calm and knowing, as if reminding her to stay strong. She whispers something only he can hear before moving on. Her heart is pounding now, not from fear, but from the weight of what's coming. Gracie is there, sitting on a hay bale near the back of the barn, her hands clutching a folded letter. The same letter Amy found in the tack room 2 nights ago. The one that changed everything. Gracie looks up, her eyes wet but steady, and for a second, neither of them speaks. The silence between them is heavy, filled with all the things they wish they could and do. Amy finally takes a deep breath, her voice breaking the stillness. "Why didn't you tell me, Gracie?" Her tone isn't sharp, it's soft, almost fragile, like someone holding something delicate that might break at any second. Gracie opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. She looks down at the letter again, her fingers trembling. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispers finally, her words trembling in the air. "I thought I was helping." Amy's expression doesn't change, but her eyes do. There's pain there, old pain mixing with new, the kind that doesn't fade easily. She steps closer, every word measured, quiet, but strong. "Helping. You think hiding the truth helps anyone. You think I don't deserve to know what really happened." Gracie's tears fall freely now. "I was scared. You've already lost so much. I didn't want to be the reason you hurt again." Amy turns away for a moment, trying to steady herself. The sound of the horses shifting in their stalls fills the air. She remembers Ty's voice, calm and kind, always telling her that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength. But right now, forgiveness feels like something far away, something she can't reach. When she finally looks back, her voice is steady again, though her eyes glisten. "You can't protect people by lying to them, Gracie. You just make the hurt last longer." Gracie nods slowly, her face crumpling under the weight of her guilt. Amy takes another step forward, close enough now to see the letter shaking in Gracie's hand. She knows what it says. She's read it over and over, trying to make sense of the words that turned her world upside down. Outside, thunder rumbles low across the sky, and the first drops of rain begin to fall on the roof of the barn. The moment feels suspended in time to hearts standing between truth and forgiveness. Amy exhales slowly. She doesn't know if she's ready to forgive, but she knows one thing for sure. This is the beginning of something that will change Heartland forever. The rain falls harder now, beating against the tin roof like a slow drum of memory. Each drop seems to echo with the sound of old wounds, old promises, and words left unsaid. The barn feels smaller, tighter, as if the walls themselves are listening. Gracie stands frozen, her hands gripping the letter like it's her last lifeline. Amy doesn't move. Her eyes drift over the ground, over the tiny puddles forming in the cracks between the floorboards. The air between them hums with the weight of everything that can't be taken back. For a long time, neither of them speaks. The silence feels alive, whispering the things they're too afraid to say. Amy can feel her heart pounding in her chest, not from anger anymore, but from the heavy pull of the past. She remembers the day she first met Gracie, a nervous, hopeful, eyes wide like someone desperate to belong. Amy had seen a little of herself in that girl. The same hunger to prove something, to be part of something bigger than yourself. That's what made the betrayal sting deeper than anything else. Gracie finally breaks the silence, her voice quiet but cutting through the sound of rain. I never wanted you to find out like this. Amy lifts her gaze, her expression calm but sharp. And how did you want me to find out, Gracie? In another lie. Another story that sounds right until it falls apart. Her voice doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. The steadiness in it is worse than anger, it's disappointment. The kind that leaves a mark. Gracie swallows hard, her throat tight. It wasn't supposed to go this far. I thought if I could fix it before anyone noticed. She stops, biting her lip, words dying in her mouth. Amy takes a slow step closer, her boots echoing softly against the wet floor. Fix what? You keep saying that like you were saving someone. Who are you really trying to save, Gracie? Me or yourself? The question hangs there heavy, impossible to ignore. Gracie's breath catches. For a moment, she looks like she might break completely, like the truth sitting in her chest is too heavy to hold anymore. The rain keeps falling, steady and relentless. Finally, she whispers, it was about Ty's project. The rescue fund? The one he started before he was gone. Amy freezes. The sound of his name hits her like a wave. The world seems to tilt slightly, the ground shifting beneath her feet. What about it? She asked, her voice barely holding steady. Gracie wipes her face with the back of her hand, her words tumbling out now, rushed and trembling. The papers you got last month, the donations, the report. They weren't all real. I thought if I could fill the gaps, fix the numbers, make it look like everything was okay, then maybe you'd believe it was working. That Ty's dream was still alive. Amy's eyes flash with pain. So you lied. You forged it. Gracie nods, tears streaming down her face. I just wanted to keep it alive, Amy. You were so happy when you thought the fund was growing. I couldn't take that away from you. Amy's jaw tightens, her hands curling at her sides. You don't get to decide what I can handle, she says softly. You don't get to rewrite his dream to protect me from pain. Lightning flashes through the cracks in the barn wall, casting long shadows over their faces. For a second, Amy can almost see Ty standing there, his gentle smile, his calm voice telling her to breathe, to stay grounded, to see the good in people even when it's hard. But that memory doesn't bring comfort now. It just burns. Gracie drops the letter to the floor. It lands softly, the paper darkening where the rain drips onto it. I thought I was doing the right thing, she whispers. Amy shakes her head slowly. The right thing doesn't come from fear, Gracie. It comes from truth, even when it hurts. The words hang there, heavy and final. Gracie looks smaller now, like a child caught in a storm she can't escape. Amy's anger fades into something deeper, a hollow ache that sits where trust used to be. She doesn't know what to do next. Part of her wants to walk away, to let the silence swallow the moment. But another part, the one that still believes in second chances, keeps her there. Outside, the storm begins to ease, the rain softening into a light drizzle. The clouds start to break, letting a faint strip of sunlight touch the wet ground. Amy takes a deep breath, the first one that doesn't hurt. She looks at Gracie again, her voice gentler now. If you really want to make things right, don't hide from it. Fix it, not for me. For him, for what Heartland stands for. Gracie nods through her tears, her voice barely a whisper. I will. Amy turns toward the barn doors, her hand resting on the wooden frame. For the first time in a long while, she feels something shift inside her, not forgiveness yet, but maybe the start of it. The past can't be undone, but maybe, just maybe, the truth can still build something new. She steps out into the light rain, her boots sinking into the soft earth, the ranch stretching out before her. The storm has passed, but the sky still hums with energy. Like the world itself is holding its breath for what comes next. The clouds begin to part, but the air still feels heavy, like the world hasn't quite exhaled yet. Water drips from the edges of the barn roof, each drop landing with a quiet rhythm that matches the beating of Amy's heart. She walks slowly through the yard, her boots splashing in the shallow puddles. The rain has stopped, yet the storm still lingers inside her. Every step feels like a question she doesn't have an answer for. The sky glows dimly now, the kind of soft light that follows a storm, calm on the surface, but charged underneath. Amy stops near the old oak tree, the one Ty carved their initials into years ago. She runs her fingers along the rough bark, tracing the faint letters with a touch that's both tender and broken. Memories flood her mind. Ty's laugh, his calm advice, the way he believed that even pain had a purpose. He always said the truth was like sunlight. It burns at first, but it helps things grow. For a moment, she closes her eyes. The ranch is quiet, except for the soft whinny of a horse in the distance and the wind rustling through the wet grass. Somewhere behind her, Gracie stands in the barn doorway, watching but too afraid to follow. She knows she's crossed a line she can't uncross. But Amy isn't thinking about punishment or anger anymore. She's thinking about what it means to rebuild something that's been cracked, something that once felt unbreakable. Jack walks up slowly from the porch, his steps steady but thoughtful. He doesn't say a word at first. He just stands beside her, looking out at the open land. Finally, he breaks the silence. "You did what you had to do," he says gently. Amy's eyes stay on the horizon. "Did I? Because it feels like I just watched everything fall apart." Jack shakes his head. "No, Amy, you didn't watch it fall apart. You faced it. That's what keeps Heartland standing. The truth always finds its way here, one way or another." Amy sighs, a long, tired breath. "She meant well, Jack. She really did. But it's hard to see past the lie when you're the one living in it." Jack looks at her, his eyes soft but firm. "You've got your mother's strength, Amy, and Ty's heart. That's a powerful mix. Don't let one mistake make you forget who you are." She nods, but her chest still feels tight. The ache of betrayal hasn't faded, and she knows it won't for a while. Still, something inside her begins to shift, like the moment right after lightning strikes, when the air smells sharp and new. Maybe this is the start of healing, slow and uncertain, but real. Amy turns back toward the barn, her gaze finding Gracie again. The girl hasn't moved. Her shoulders are slumped, her eyes red, but she's waiting for Amy to say something, anything. Amy walks toward her, each step steady now. The mud clings to her boots, the earth pulling at her as if reminding her that healing comes from being grounded, from staying rooted even when it hurts. When she reaches the barn, Gracie straightens a little, wiping her face with the back of her sleeve. The letter still lies on the ground between them, soggy and torn. Amy looks at it for a long time before speaking. "You can't fix what's broken by pretending it's whole," she says quietly. "But you can start again, if you mean it." Gracie nods, her voice barely a whisper. "I do. I'll tell everyone the truth. I'll make it right." Amy studies her face, searching for something, maybe sincerity, maybe courage. And for the first time, she sees it, not guilt, not fear, but genuine remorse. The kind that comes from realizing how deeply your choices can wound someone else. Amy feels something inside her loosen. Like the first breath after holding it too long, she crouches down, picks up the damp letter, and hands it back to Gracie. "Then start here," she says. "Fix the fund. Clean the records. And this time, do it the right way." Gracie takes the letter with shaking hands, nodding again, tears spilling silently down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, Amy, truly. Amy doesn't answer right away. She just looks around the barn at the tools, the stalls, the horses. Every inch of this place carries history, struggle, and love. Heartland has survived storms worse than this one. And maybe, just maybe, it will survive this too. As Amy turns to leave, Gracie calls out softly, "Why are you giving me another chance?" Amy pauses at the door, the light catching her face as she looks back. "Because someone once gave me one," she says simply. "And because this place is built on second chances." Outside, the clouds finally break apart, and the sun spills across the fields in bright, golden streams. The puddles shimmer, the horses lift their heads, and the whole ranch seems to breathe again. Amy steps into the sunlight, her shoulders lighter, her heart still aching but not empty anymore. The pain hasn't gone, it's just changed shape, softened into something that might one day become peace, for the first time in a long while. Amy smiles faintly, not because everything is okay, but because she finally believes it can be. The morning light creeps slowly over the hills, washing the Heartland Ranch in a pale golden glow. The rain has left behind a world that looks new, the air crisp, the grass glistening, and the sky clear enough to promise a fresh start. Amy stands by the corral fence, her hands resting on the worn wood, her eyes distant but softer than they've been in days. The storm outside has passed, but the one inside her heart is still finding its calm. The horses move lazily across the field, their coats shining with morning dew. Spartan trots closer, his familiar gaze steady and patient. Amy reaches out, running a hand down his neck. The warmth beneath her palm grounds her, reminding her that no matter how much life changes, some things remain solid, the bond she shares with these animals, this land, and the people who stood beside her through every heartbreak and every hope. She hears footsteps behind her, slow, hesitant ones. Gracie approaches, her head bowed slightly, clutching a stack of papers. The letter is gone, replaced now with pages of numbers, corrected entries, and clean ledgers. Amy doesn't turn right away. She waits, letting the quiet do what words can't. Gracie stops a few feet away. "I fixed it," she says softly, her voice trembling. "The funds records, the donations, all of it. I talked to the sponsors too. They know the truth now. I told them it was my mistake." Amy nods, still looking out at the open land. "And they were angry," Gracie admits, her voice cracking. "Some pulled out, but others said they still believed in it, in what Ty started. They want to help, just honestly this time." Amy finally turns, her eyes meeting Gracie's. That's how it should have been from the start. Gracie nods again, her lips trembling. "I know, I can't undo what I did, but I can rebuild it. If you'll let me." For a long moment, Amy says nothing. The only sound is the wind moving through the trees and the faint rustle of a horse's tail swishing. Then, slowly, she walks toward Gracie, stopping when they're face to face. The distance between them, once filled with betrayal and silence, now feels fragile, ready to heal if handled gently enough. Amy's voice is calm, steady. "Do you know what Heartland really means, Gracie?" Gracie shakes her head slightly. "It's not just a place," Amy continues. "It's a promise. A promise that no matter how broken something gets, you can always find a way to mend it. But mending takes time." And truth, Gracie's eyes fill with tears again. But this time they're different, not from guilt, but relief. "I'll earn back your trust, Amy, however long it takes." Amy studies her for a moment, then gives a faint nod. "You will. But not because you owe me. Because you owe yourself that chance." The words hang in the morning air, light but powerful. Gracie takes a small step forward, the sunlight catching the wet streaks on her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispers. Amy doesn't reply with words. Instead, she rests a gentle hand on Gracie's shoulder, a silent acceptance that says more than forgiveness ever could. It's not a full repair, not yet, but it's the beginning of one. Jack watches from the porch, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. He knows this look on Amy's face, the quiet strength, the same kind that Marion once carried. Lou steps out beside him, coffee mug in hand, her eyes following the two figures by the fence. She's letting go. Lou murmurs, Jack nods. She's finding her way again. That's what Heartland does. The camera of life seems to pull back here, the image widening to capture the ranch in its full glory. The fences gleam in the sun, the horses graze peacefully, and the mountains in the distance glow with morning light. It's not perfection. It's something better. It's healing. Amy and Gracie stand side by side now, looking out over the fields. Gracie's shoulders relax for the first time in days, the guilt slowly lifting. Amy feels it too, the ache still there, but lighter, easier to carry. In her heart, Amy knows Ty would be proud. Not just of the fun or the dream, but of the way the truth found its way through the pain. She can almost hear his voice in the breeze, that calm, steady tone saying, "You did the right thing, Amos. You always do." The words bring a faint smile to her lips. She tilts her head up toward the sky, the sunlight catching the shimmer in her eyes. "I hope so," she whispers under her breath. The scene lingers, quiet, peaceful, and full of promise. The camera would fade slowly, the screen catching the final image of Amy walking toward Spartan, Gracie beside her. Two silhouettes against a rising sun. The day beginning not with an ending, but a renewal. A soft gust of wind moves through the ranch, stirring the dust and the scent of wet earth. In that moment, everything feels alive again. The land, the people, the hope. Heartland breathes as one, just as it always has. And as the last line fades, the world holds onto Amy's strength, the woman who's lost, forgiven, and found her heart again in the place that started it all.